Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Global Intelligence Update, the first of 2025. And this year we've got a great starter session. Joining us, Marie Le Roux. And for those guys that just tuned in, if you don't know who Marie is, you need to go watch the previous sessions. She's been with us before, but I'll just do a brief overview and catch you guys up. So, guys, Marie, our guest speaker has created content, spoken and facilitated for clients ranging from World Bank, international governments, ministries, and leading universities to local associations, non-profits, and schools. She is the founder of YaziMedia Virtual Media House with a mission to distribute knowledge for life. As host of the League of Visionaries podcast, she creates a platform for thought leaders to share the visionary message with her partner, Ian Hatton. She is the author of Love Like Morpheus, Principles of Relationship at Work, launching in 2025. So watch out for that one. In lectures halls, boardrooms, and even under the shades of tree, her audience, young and old, educated and learning, rich and poor, have all taken away the information and inspiration to take action. So guys, please welcome Marie Le Roux.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you to everybody in the Circle of Excellence who's here today, everybody watching the recording later. It's always so inspiring, exciting, and slightly scary to speak to people that I have so much respect for. Because the fact that you're here in the live session or even watching the recording tells us so much about just who you truly are and the caliber of clarity and vision that you bring into the world. So it's a pleasure speaking to you today. And I really hope that what I share with you can give you tremendous inspiration for the year ahead. But as we record this live, we're at the beginning of January 2025. It's the beginning of a new year. And a lot of people I've been speaking to have been saying, wow, there's so much to do. We got to market. And that is, of course, what people come to me for is marketing strategy, media strategy. And I hear at the same time, they're going, oh, that's a lot. And oh my goodness, where do I start? And also, please, can I press pause and just take a little bit more time to get into the year to set myself up? Now, the year has started in the Gregorian calendar, but on the 29th of January, we have a new moon that hails in the beginning of the new Chinese year, Chinese New Year, or the Chinese year of the wood snake. And that is a year of transformation. So if you feel you need that pause button, you have permission from me to press pause and consider your new year to be taking shape now, as we just had a full moon last night that is leading us to the culmination of everything that's happened over the past year. Let's take that last little bit of time to really set ourselves up. And with that new year in mind, I'd love to ask you, if you are here with us live today, to put in the chat, what is your intention for 2025? And if you're watching the recording, feel free to add that in the comments. I'd love to know if you have an intention or perhaps you have a word for 2025. And I'm really looking forward to seeing those. Let's take a look. All right. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that link, Philippe. Oh, Dovi is saying inner peace, massive impact. I love the balance in that, right? It's the calm and the action. How beautiful. And Melanie's word, impact. How's that? We've got a bingo there already. Oh, Anthony says, my word, confelicity, to delight on others' joy, being happy together. What a beautiful word. I'd love to know, Anthony, did that word exist before you coined it, or did you come across it?
I
Beautiful
came
word.
across it from one of our Circle of Excellence members, Philippe,
Beautiful.
to
Oh,
delight in other
lovely.
people's joy and happiness.
Stunning. Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. That's beautiful. And thank you, Philippe, for sharing that one with us. Lovely. So these are powerful. Chris, I'm curious to hear, what about you? Intentions for 2025 or a word for the year? Growth. How beautiful. How beautiful. What a lovely combination. And you see how these words, these intentions of ours all there's a sense of confluence, both the peace and the impact, both the joy and the introspection and the internal strength and the growth. And so I'd love to share with you my word for the year, which is ease. And I got greedy because I said a word for the year is not enough. I'm going to make it an acronym. So I get one word for the year and 4 of the acronyms. But I'll pause to interrupt with Ian's, who says, my word is freedom. And that free for him, because he's also doing the acronym thing this year, free. The F is for fun, the R is for revolution, the E is for exuberance, and the second E is for essence. So there's definitely an echo there of all these intentions that you've all shared. Thank you so much for those. And I'd love to see how we can weave that in today with where we're headed with our action plan, these 10 steps to really galvanize and boost your business and your life this year. So I said, my word is ease, partly because, and you may relate to this, sometimes business and life has felt to me like a struggle. And I'm really excited when I can see that, in fact, there is ease beneath that. So my E in ease, the E is for effectiveness, not just to do a lot, which I've been really good at traditionally, but to do less, to take away, to find the sculpture inside the block of marble of all that activity, and really leverage the activities that I do with intent and strategy to accomplish more. The A is for attention, because our attention is something that allows things to thrive. In my mother tongue, Afrikaans, that we are farmers, and there is an expression that says, "Die oog van die boer maak die skaap vet." It means the eye of the farmer is what fattens the sheep. And when we can give our attention to the things that are important, that allows us to grow. So that is the A in ease. The S is for sparkle, because I think life deserves so much more sparkle and delight and enjoyment. And the final E is for exuberance, because I believe that is what we want, exuberance and energy, in order to have that impact and the growth that you've all been speaking of. So with that ease in mind, that is a very strong foundation for today's theme. And in case you missed it, we are talking about your best year yet, 10 steps to measurable results in your business and life. When I discussed this topic with Chris to see what is going to set us up for the year, really give our Circle of Excellence members and followers some tools that are going to help them the most, the thing that will give them leverage for the massive impact that they want, but with minimum effort. I started to think about an experience I had last year, because for the first time after branching out into a new field of work and a new field of specialization, I found that I no longer had to go and hunt business. I didn't have to drop hints or have aggressive sales conversations. People started coming to me. And this happened in the spring of last year, when I also saw the mulberry tree in our backyard was beginning to bring mulberries. And every year I've been picking the mulberries, getting my fingers purple, and having a very small harvest because of that, and so many mulberries dropped to the ground, which was less than optimal. Lots of effort, very few results. And I was wondering, how could that philosophy of ease come in to my mulberries? And so I looked a little bit at what farmers do, and one organic, sustainable farmer just said, make it easy. There's the ease. He said, leave the mulberries. Tend the tree. Make sure the tree is getting enough water, enough nourishment in the soil. Make sure that it's pruned before the summer, before the spring starts, so that it can put its energy where it needs to go. Again, less is more, right? Less things to do, less branches to feed, but more attention in the branches that we feed. And then You take a tarpaulin and spread it out under the mulberry tree and just wait. When the fruit is ready, it will drop. And if you really need to spur on the process, maybe you can shake the tree. And so I tried this philosophy. And after a few hours of just leaving the tarpaulin under the mulberry tree, I had the best harvest that I'd ever had. And then I got a little bit aggressive, gave the tree a light shake, and beautiful, ripe mulberries, not the sour ones that I've been prying off the tree with great trouble and lots of purple fingers. It was really an abundant harvest, not only that day, but every single day throughout the season, the mulberry tree ended up having multiple yields because I stopped getting so involved. And at the same time, my business was doing exactly the same thing. I was spreading out the canvas, nourishing the tree with the activities that I was doing and making sure that the tree has enough water, spreading out the tarpaulin, making sure that there are avenues for clients to come to me. But rather than wrestle with it or go to pry the customers off, which just chases them off, as we all know, or trying to make sure that people will see what I do or making an effort, which comes across as so pushy and inauthentic, I could just focus on what's important, prune so that I attend to the things that matter, and the fruit was just dropping very, very easily. And so that is why it's really, really important that we look at, rather than doing more this year, doing less, but making it happen. And that is what our 10 steps this time are about. So the very first of the 10 steps, and you will find the interactive document, the live document for this at the link that I've shared with everybody attending live. If you're watching the recording, I'll make sure that it's in the comments, and I'll ask Chris to also share it in the description so you can access these resources. Thank you, Chris, for that resources if there is something you want to follow up on. But we are focusing more than anything, not on giving you a to-do list, but rather a to not do list. In Japanese philosophy, the Shinto tradition, there is a concept called ma. And ma, the character is two gates, and there is a sun inside. So it's just a gate that lets the sun through. This is about space and creating emptiness, creating time. And that idea of ma is something that can give us so much more quality in what we do. So that is our big task in this 10 steps in our program. Thank you so much, Mel, for your feedback there. I really think this idea of learning from nature with this mulberry marketing is super powerful. And so how do we know, where do our spaces need to be? And where do our focal points need to be in this in this space that is so powerful for creating less so that we get more from what we do? Well, this time of year, and Chris and I were just discussing this before we started the session, so many people out there are going, it's time to market. January is here. You already missed the New Year's train and it's leaving the station and you're going to miss out. Market, market, market. Get busy. You're not doing enough. Here's what you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every one of them has 10 sub-steps. Now, that is one way to do it. So many of those formulas have worked in the past, although I would argue many are not working anymore because things are shifting very, very rapidly. And not only is marketing more sophisticated, but also people are overwhelmed and exhausted and tired of being sold to. So how do we listen and tune in to what is really important? Well, I'd like to invite you to, rather than listen to all the voices out there telling you what to do, and that may even include my own, I'm willing to take that risk. I'd like you to put all those voices on hold and listen where it really matters. When we listen, and that is such a powerful step for this year, our first step, listen. Listen to others. Make that space to pause, to hear what they have to say. Listen to our clients, listen to our staff or our colleagues or our partners or our providers. Listen. But most importantly, listen to ourselves and listen to our hearts. And my first invitation to you today is to allow a moment to just listen to your heart. Allow yourself to become quiet. And if you are available for it this morning, just put your hand on your heart. Breathe. And see if you can feel your heartbeat. Your heart is right there, beating for you, drumming up support in your body every moment, fueling, pumping the blood out with what you don't need, in with the oxygen that you do need, out with the poison, in with the power, out with what's no longer serving, and in with what is. And in this new year, it can happen that we start with great intentions and great inspirations. But what if those things happen that throw us off course, that send us off balance, that make us unsure, that make us anxious to make a decision? What if that happens? Well, that is the time to listen to your heart. Take a moment when those stressful moments arrive. Breathe. Put your hand on your heart and listen to that drumbeat. And that drumbeat is the drummer to whose tune you can march with confidence. And if that's not enough, you can also bring some energy into this. And feel what happens when you drum your chest. Feel the sternum. It's said that when you drum your chest, it activates pressure points that give you energy and courage and confidence. And you'll feel how this begins to stimulate the whole blood flow throughout your body, waking up the heart as a pump to bring more energy. So at the times when there's too much, when there's too much pressure happening and you need a little adrenaline rush, there you go. And Melanie's saying in the chat, drum, that's for you, Chris. This has so much significance for us, right? Our heart is our drum and the drum beat that fuels us on. So use that one. So step one for your best year yet, listen and use this little technique whenever you have the need. But now we've also spoken about measurable results, right? You want to be able to, to measure what is happening in your business, what is happening in your life. And you can only measure it if you've recorded it. Now, today, with all the data and software and apps available to us, there are so many ways to record what happened. If you're using different systems for managing your business or your social media presence, you can actually go and track the analytics, the statistics, and see what is working, what is not. And pausing to go and measure those things is wonderful. But you can only measure them if you have them. So be aware of what is happening in your business systems and see how that could have an effect, but also in your life. And although there are so many high-tech options for this, and I'll be sharing one of them later as well in our step number 7, I think. You'll see later there is a way, if you're not using a system to track what is happening in your business, there's a beautiful option I'll share with you. But sometimes the best option is offline. And it might be a notebook, it might be a journal where you're actually tracking what is happening. Some of these things might not be numbers. In your business, it's often numbers, but some of it could be your mood. It could be your health, how you're feeling, what's happening in an important relationship of yours, your personal growth. That is one of the intentions we had this morning. Take a look at how you can record what is happening. And I strongly encourage you to take this offline. Again, in your action plan, I've shared a link to the most incredible book. And it's so good, I can't not share it with you. Here it is. It's called The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. And Ryder Carroll was a web designer. He was struggling throughout his life with ADHD. And he started working out a way that would work for him. And eventually, he worked through many iterations of keeping a non-digital, analog, old-fashioned notebook. It eventually became what he calls the bullet journal method, and it helped him to not only manage his neurodiverse condition, but it also helped him to create a massive success out of this project. This book has become a worldwide bestseller that has sustained its popularity and changed the lives of many, many people. So the bullet journal method is a great way to measure what is happening. And for all these steps we did today, think, how can you measure what you're doing? This is not a to-do. It's more about an awareness and using the things that you already have in place. But if the bullet journal method helps you, I can only give it the wildest thumbs up when I've used it, and I'm getting back into the habit now. It's been massively powerful. But that is our step 2, is go and measure what is happening. Step 3, for your best year yet, is about your surroundings. And when we walk into a space, we feel how the environment affects us. And that seems like it's just an emotional thing. It might not be easy to measure objectively, but we know, wow, this place makes me feel so energized. Or just being here makes me feel exhausted. How much does that affect us in our living spaces and our working spaces? It's easy to think this is just something out there. But if you've ever worked in an environment where your organization or the space around you is holding you back, making you less productive, maybe making you sick, making you feel depressed, making you have to look for things before you can do your work, you can see how that affects the quality of your life, but also your productivity in your business. So once again, this is not a to-do. It's an awareness. And it can be so worth looking at your surroundings and seeing what is making this less than optimal and what are the small and easy things I can do that are going to support me to do even better with this. Yes, and Melanie is saying her records are in the notebook, referring to our measurements. And I love that you've said declining, 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 saying no to things, because that saying no to things is what creates the space, creates the allows us to put the attention and the energy into the areas where we are growing. So go, Mel, that's fantastic. The power of no is incredible. Now, for your surroundings, you might have come across something wonderful that was very trendy about a decade ago, but that still deserves so much attention if you've never tried it. And that is the KonMari method. And Marie Kondo helped people to freshen up their spaces, and really change their lives by just transforming their environment, their surroundings. And what she said is, does it spark joy? When you look at any item in your environment, but maybe even any commitment in your calendar, like Mel just shared with us, does it spark joy? And if the answer is no, well, maybe it's time to let go of it. And then we can say yes to the things to which we really, really can learn from and feed from and grow from. So give yourself the indulgence of saying no. See, does it spark joy? Just by cleaning up their house or tidying up their house, as Marie Kondo calls it, many people have transformed what happens in their lives and in their businesses. So give it a go. Once again, there are some interesting links, not only to the original book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, but also her new book or later book that is called Joy at Work. And that's about really finding how do you spark joy and say yes to the things in your work environment, make it more efficient, productive, healthy, and also, very importantly, your digital environment. So a digital cleanup is something that is overdue for all of us as well. We're all beginning to feel the baggage, and it's good if we can clear that up before our memory is full and we start having problems with our computers and our phones because we're lugging along a lot of old things we no longer need. I see a few nods, and yes, this is something that's always worth keeping up to date. Right. And that one is worth keeping digital. But when the digital records are straight, we can work better with the analog records and what is offline and make the best of both according to our own needs. Again, begin by listening to your heart. And so our fourth step, this one is probably the thing that holds the most people back. Now, I've done wonderful experiences to help people with their branding and empower them with a personal brand and a business brand that can really serve them. And one of the things that holds them back the most is ultimately that they are feeling they don't have the energy that they need to actually go and take on a project like this. They feel that they don't have the mental clarity that they need because working on your business and building big strategies takes a very clear head and a strong alignment to your heart so that you know what is important to you. Once again, what is the yes? What is the no? And when we're overwhelmed and we're feeling tired and run down, this is really hard to do. But there's something else that really fascinated me, and that was how many people have said to me, yes, but I can't take headshots. I'm going to use the old ones from 2 years ago because I looked better then. I have gained weight, or I have got new wrinkles, or I'm just looking tired. I'm not in a condition where I want new photographs taken of me. What an angle, right? What an obstacle this can be when we want to move forward. So what if there's a way to really revitalize ourselves? And we all know the rules, right? We all know that we're supposed to do the things we enjoy. This has become an item on our to-do list in the busy modern world that we're living in. So we really want to see how can we make those things that are good for us joyful, really allow time in our day, space in our day, that magical the space that allows us to do our best because we are relaxing, because we are getting enough sleep, because we're getting enough playtime with our family and our friends and our loved ones and our kids and our pets and our communities and having fun. That revitalizes us, that recharges us. And yet it's the first thing that suffers because we're all on the go-getter trip, working to improve ourselves and improve our businesses. And somewhere the joy goes out the window. So let's make time for that to revitalize ourselves. Let's make time for exercise that is not a chore. It's not a to-do. It's a delight. It's part of what we do. It's part of what we enjoy. It's part of our quality time with ourselves or our loved ones. How can we make exercise something that brings us joy if it isn't right now? And then, how can we be sure that these incredible vehicles that are carrying us, the home of our drum, our heart, our precious bodies, are able to do the best they can to give us the life we desire and deserve, and a business that is ready to wildly succeed beyond our own wildest expectations? Well, one of the most fundamental principles is to get rid of the toxins that we don't need and to give ourselves the most nutrients that we can. And we can do this every day in our diet just by being a little bit more aware of what we eat and what we drink. But there is a way that can supercharge this, and that is very simply fresh, raw vegetable and fruit juices, because they contain so much of what we need. One glass of a juice can bring in a whole bowl of vegetables that you would never be able to chew your way through in a day, no matter how hard you work on it. And hey, who wants another to-do, right? So whenever you have the chance, take a look at what juice can do for you. And in the action plan, I've shared with you an incredible documentary about how people who have taken juices have really transformed their lives completely, got rid of massive long lists of medications, of health complications, and all the things that can hold them back, and emerge with amazing health and radiant health that fuels the work that they do and the life that they want to live and gives them so much more quality of life and a longer expectation. I agree with you, Chris. Chris is saying juices are amazing. They really, really are. If you haven't tried it, give it a go. And it has been one of the best ways for me to set up for this year, has just been flooding with juices. So I am juice fueled, and I am very, very excited to hear what juices can do for you as well. So fingers crossed that it gives you an amazing result. So that is our next step, is revitalize. And the amazing thing now that happens if you've revitalized is suddenly, instead of going, oh man, I need to use the old headshots because this ain't working, you know what? Take a bit of time with juice and you're going to go, where's my photographer's number again? I want new headshots because I am rocking this. I'm looking amazing. I'm feeling so good and I want to capture this. And a good photographer, if you've sat with a good photographer and had that experience where all your inhibitions go away and they really capture the essence of you, a good photographer can capture that essence anytime. But something like juice, because now you've said the no to what you don't need and you're getting what you do need, there's so much of a clearer crystallization of your essence. And so that is our next step. We now are revitalized. Next step, rethink. Rethink what the look and feel of you is, because maybe it's time to go and take a good look at your branding, at your headshots, at the words you use, at the way that you live, the way that you communicate. And that is something that can galvanize you on a personal level in your life. And the repercussions for your business can be amazing, because now there's all that energy to put into what you're doing, but with much more focus, not wasting energy on things that don't matter, but really focusing our energy on what does. That's our mulberry tree. We're pruning away what we don't need and really focusing on the branches where we are growing, so we have a maximum high-yielding, rich harvest. So with that happening, take that rethink, call up your photographer, you'll be amazed what could happen. Our step 6 is refresh. Now, as we look into a new year and new intentions, it's very tempting to say, I need a rebrand. I remember exactly how painful it was the first time I set up my brand, but I'm full of energy. I'm ready to go. I want a rebrand. Well, maybe you don't need a whole rebrand. It's a big process, but maybe there are elements of what you are doing that can use a refresh. And one of the great places to do it, of course, is with your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is such a powerful search engine. It has so much authority on the different search engines. If people Google your name, it's probably the first place where they're going to find you. And that is even without having to put tons of money into search engine optimization and SEO experts and marketing. It's right there. So a LinkedIn profile refresh is a great way to celebrate what you're doing. And if you're overdue for one, in our action plan, I've shared a link to my YouTube playlist where I run you through the basic process for a nice, sharp LinkedIn profile refresh for a new year. And you can binge watch that in 45 minutes. But if you actually take action and go and implement what I recommend there, you will take 2 hours and you'll have a much stronger, sharper, fresh LinkedIn profile that is ready to really take you out into the world. And with this clarity and this power and this awareness of what is your yes, what is your no, the space, gives a much more powerful impression. You might be interested to see what happens there, even if you do nothing else. Step 7 is to appear. And with Anthony in the room today, he's been really generous with his knowledge about how he manages to appear in many different places, like a genie, by using an excellent publicist and also by working with outstanding speaker bureaus, but of course also by just showing up and being amazing. Anthony's mulberry marketing over the years has really been something to watch, because with a book and with presentations and all the things that we do, this allows that visibility. So Anthony, you're a great shining example there. And one of the ways, of course, to nourish the roots of your mulberry tree and to water those roots and make sure that there is a lot of energy going in to what you are doing and there is visibility and the right people in the right places can hear you. Appearing is one of the best things you can do. So that is our step number 7. Step 7 is appear. But I would like to add our what not to do here rather than our what to do. And the what not to do is get every gig you possibly can. Be in every media feature, on every podcast that you possibly can, and really look at the quality over quantity. People of the caliber who are in this Circle of Excellence group and people of the caliber who watch the podcast are people who do not need to be everywhere. In fact, that can detract from the quality and the clarity of your brand. So do appear, keep your eyes open. And I've shared a link with you for wonderful media feature opportunities that you can access free of charge with Source Bottle, which is a media alerts agency, and they let you know when producers and journalists and bloggers and podcasters are looking for an expert to feature. But be very, very selective to what you say yes to. If you are speaking on stage, that takes effort. It takes valuable time. So be sure that you are on the right stage, that you are on the right platform, that really shows your quality. Less is more when it comes to the quality of your brand. And your energy is valuable and important. Use it wisely. Number 8 is lead. And this one is not just about being a leader. This is specifically about leading people somewhere. So now that you are appearing on stage, or you're on podcasts, or you've been featured in an article, what happens now? Well, some people are going to look you up because they're just so absolutely smitten with the amazing message that you shared. But it's possible that they're also part of just living a busy life and moving on to the next thing. And they might say, wow, I need to look that person up sometime. And off they go on with their daily life, and they've completely forgotten about you. So what is the best way to make sure that you can reach them? Well, leading people with something that can give them value. And very often we've heard of the term a lead magnet or a funnel that can bring people into your message can be valuable. But just like with appearing in places, you want to be so selective about this. You do want to be able to lead people, but give them a choice. So give them something with tremendous value that can serve them, and give them the option to say no. So many marketers have taught us, well, now you're aggressively going to get those email addresses and go and message them and add them to your lists and all of these things. We know that there is legislation around the world that is limiting how much we can do that. In Europe, it's the GDPR. In South Africa, it's the Poppy Act. And I actually call this politeness legislation, because a lot of what they do is actually helping you not to be a jerk. We get very excited and nervous and uptight about all these regulations, and we sometimes feel restrained by it. But the truth is, if you follow those regulations, that is being respectful towards your clients. The marketing to everybody, the meeting somebody and randomly adding them to your WhatsApp list or your email list, and they're suddenly getting messages from you unsolicited, that is for sleazy, cheap, low-class brands. And there is nobody in this group and nobody listening to this session who should be in that category. So be very, very quality focused in what you do share with people. And in that regard, if you have a system in place, absolutely fantastic. I know many people, especially within the circle of excellence, as a business owner, you may have invested a lot of time, energy, attention, resources, and perhaps you're even bringing in expert outsourcing into running your systems for communicating with clients and your pipeline and taking care of your existing customers with a beautiful newsletter or email lists or even WhatsApp groups and other strategies you may be using. If you don't have one, I'm sharing a link to a wonderful solution that can provide you with web hosting, with online courses, even with email newsletter management and things like customer relationship management or CRM. So there is a link in your action plan that you can take a look at. But there is also an opportunity, if you are working with a virtual assistant or somebody who supports you with your website, you can actually help them to get certified so that they can use this system. So there are many, many options for doing this, but do it in style. Lead your people, give them true value, and give them the opportunity to opt out. Now, I believe I should practice what I preach. So if you are in here live today, you already have access to the action plan. But if you're watching the recording, we're going to be sharing a link to where you can access my lead form. Today, that is just a very simple Google form where you can give a little bit of feedback. And if you provide that feedback, then you have access to the resources. So this is exactly the method that you can use. The nice thing about the Google form is I've been completely transparent about privacy. You don't give your email address if you don't want to. So there's not even a requirement to provide an email address on this one, but I would appreciate it because I am gathering some information there. And that is a good way to share what you've learned here, tell me what your concerns are, and you can even get in touch with me there or request access to my newsletter if you want it, or if you would like me to contact you for a one-on-one consultation that will be complimentary, you're welcome to let me know there as well. I'm quickly going to share that link with you, and I'm going to get my seeing machine here because it is good if we can make use of the right link. I don't want to give you the wrong one. Here we go. So if you're here live, there is a link to that survey in the chat, and I'd really appreciate any feedback that you have. Once again, you don't even have to provide an email address. If you're watching the recording, you can get all the goodies there, and that is your action plan with all the resources for our session today. Our second last step, step 9 for your best year yet, is one of the most important things, the foundation of where we are. The poet John Donne said, "No man is an island." Women know this, so obviously he didn't have to spell that part out. I don't think he was being sexist, but we are not isolated. We really, really are part and some of our surroundings. The people around us make us what we are, and people are the key to the success of every business, right? All the people, whether it's employees, partners, staff, your providers, and of course, your clients. But amid all of that, I want to bring you back to your heart. And your heart is what connects you to the person who is the hub of all this, and that is yourself. Relationship is the absolute game changer. And if there is nothing else in these 10 steps that you feel you haven't mastered, this is an ongoing process, and it's one that I invite you to explore further. Now, you've heard about the book. And so, of course, it is time for the inevitable pitch, because I'd like to share with you love, like Morpheus, the Log Cabin Conversations. Now, this is the book that Ian and Hatton and I have been working on. And Ian, as you may know, is my partner and an incredible mentor to me as well, who has taught me so much of what I perceive today that I had not seen in the past. And that has really shifted the way that I see relationship. Because as an introvert and somebody who'd very much rather live up in a cave on a hill, he's definitely taught me that there is so much more to the people around us, and relationship in every single aspect that we find it, whether it's relationships with clients or partners or suppliers or our people that we work with, the relationships in our life, but especially the relationship to ourselves. Now, when we wrote the book, we used a very lazy method. Instead of writing a book, we planned a book, we outlined it, and then we went away to a log cabin in the beautiful Magubas Kloof in South Africa's Limpopo province, and we sat in the forest on the porch of the log cabin, turned on the video camera, and had conversations on the 12 principles of relationship at work, which then become the chapters. But the book is not ready. However, if you want to be part of the videos, you'll find them here, and we have the link in the comments, and they'll be available in our description as well of this session. So Love Like Morpheus is this book about the 12 principles of relationship at work. You can tap Ian's incredible brilliance there and my ridiculousness. You'll catch us in pajamas on a very cold winter's day having our morning coffee, and it's worth it just for that. By the way, if you do get the Log Cabin Conversations, you will also have access to a very early sneak preview, a chance to get your free Kindle copy of the book when it is released later this year. So that's a great way in, so that you can be very first to enjoy the book in all its guts and glory, because it's a very scary book to write and share. And finally, that is relate, our point 9. We come then to our final point, which is act. Taking action really is what it all hinges on. So this morning, you might have heard a few things that you have already done, a few things that you see, well, I don't need to go and do something about this. I just need to be aware. But the final thing that will make the difference on how you've invested this hour of your life in your best year yet is taking action. So I'd love to invite you to look at, even if it's one thing on that 10-step action plan that's going to make it your best year yet. Find the one that gives you the most excitement, the one that sparks joy for you, to quote Marie Kondo, and take action on that one. Listen to your heart. Take care of your mulberry tree. And this year, I wish you the most incredible harvest. Thank you, Circle of Excellence, and thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Marie.
And for your questions. Ooh, very exciting. Ooh, I'm seeing coffee. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Steve has a wonderful question when it's specifically about CSR, corporate social responsibility, funding partners, and impact projects, and how to frame your call to action in social media and on LinkedIn, etc. And this is such a crucial point, Steve, because especially when it comes to that CSR, corporate social responsibility space, people within that space have been feeling so harassed because they're the ones who are managing those relationships, and everybody thinks they're Father Christmas, right? Everybody comes to them with, oh, we've got this wonderful idea, but they're not always ready to follow through. And it's very, very tempting to have that call to action that can be the generic, the things that we've all learned over the years. Oh, like us, follow us, subscribe, click this link, etc. One of the most powerful ways, especially if you are looking for the quality, is to get rid of the masses and really focus. So this is pruning your mulberry tree. Prune your mulberry tree and decide who are the people that you do need to speak to, that actually you can build relationships so that it's not as generic. It really can be tailored, and you can go in with a strategy. Because when you're speaking to, I think where you're at, you're looking at approaching a company and there's CSR people, right? For funding, right? So you really want to know that you're speaking to the right company and really do your homework. So it can mean doing more effort, but it also means your attention to the things that don't matter can be diluted. So I'd encourage you to look into an approach that is perhaps more individualized and personalized, and become very, very clear about who can benefit, because ultimately your CSR is something that benefits the company that funds you. And you really want to show them how you are doing that. Obviously, your efforts and your results, the things that you are measuring in our second point, those are things that will definitely help them to see that you're the perfect choice. I hope that helps. By the way, Steve, you have the link to the form. Please, if you feel comfortable with it, send me your email address. I think I know people who may be the right advisors for you to speak to. Really good for helping the go-between and getting into that space. Great. Thank you. Yes, and this would be specifically for your mission, which is amazing. So there are definitely partners who would so benefit from what you're doing. Amazing. Yes. Great. And congratulations, by the way, because I haven't seen you in person since your election as the president of the South African Olympic Committee. Is that right?
It's the South African Olympians Association. So not Olympic Committee is
about other
that's the organizers of the games. So this is just focusing on taking care of our Olympians post-career and transitioning, and of course social impact as well. So hence the Olympic Values in Schools program that we're trying to roll out.
Outstanding. Great. And I think that's going to be on our recording. So if you're the corporate social responsibility person who needs that as a beautiful showcase project, you know where to find Steve. It's the South African Olympians Association. Yes?
That's true.
Woo! Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, Marie. Great session. Lots of great points that you shared with us. And yeah, guys, check out the link if you haven't done so. Check it out. If you're listening from offline or a recording, you'll find it in the comments. Please click on it and see what it's about. Marie, I just want to jump back onto a message from Anthony. Saying that I am in need of a new virtual assistant and savviness in sales and lead magnets. If you have any recommendations, let me know. So if you are listening to this offline and you are a virtual assistant, check out Anthony. Yeah, no, really, thank you. I think we're going to call the session unless anyone has any questions. You guys are more than welcome to unmute yourself. We've got Marie here now, so might as well grab her while you can. Otherwise, we are going to call it. And next week, we're going to have another great person, Ian Hatton. Ian will be joining us next week, and it's going to be a great session. So guys, tune in next week as well. And yeah, thanks again, Marie. I hope you have a great week. I hope everyone has a great week. Great start of the year. And tackle it. Act number 10.
There you go.
Awesome.
Chris, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. It's always great to see our Circle of Excellence people. Have a beautiful year.
Bye, everyone. See you again.